Dr. Taylor, Dr. Finch, what a great opportunity for us to be together and reflect on 15 years of the Brock School of Business. I would like to get both of your thoughts, kind of just big picture on 15 years of the Brock School of Business. It was a fast 15 years. Dr. Taylor, we'll start with you. When you think 15 years, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm getting old is what comes to mind. It's remarkable that it's been 15 years since we announced the Brock School of Business. I remember that day like it was yesterday. What an exciting day on campus as we honored Harry B. Brock Jr. with the naming of the school, just celebrated his enormous impact on this campus and in the Birmingham business community. And to take on a name like the Brock name is significant. And it was a significant day for Samford and a significant day for our School of Business. We finally had an identity as a school. And to be able to be there with Harry and Jane and the entire family to make that announcement. Brock Recital Hall was packed, I remember, with energy and balloons and t-shirts, and we were proud of the new name.
It was so exciting to come back to Dwight Beeson Hall and to have new letters above the door of Dwight Beeson Hall. All the logistics and all the things that went into that. Just kind of walk us through how long that took and everything that was involved, if you can remember back that far.
Sure. Well, really, I have to back up to day one, my first day as dean of the then School of Business at Samford in 2005. And as I arrived, I tried to take a quick scan of those who had been involved in the school and who might be able to make a difference in our community. And at the top of that list was Harry Brock. And it took me a little while, a few months, to get in to see Harry. But once we started a conversation, it became very evident to me that Mr. Brock had a vision for not only the School of Business, but for Samford University. And that vision was to prepare men and women for leadership in our business community, but to bring Christian values to that leadership. And as we dreamed a little bit about the future of the school, Dr. Westmoreland and I approached Mr. Brock and asked him if we could honor him by placing his name on our School of Business so that every graduate from then on would be associated with the Brock name. And so as you can imagine, lots of plans, lots of details. That took about a year of conversation and planning to organize, but you're exactly right. On that day, we had the Brock name up on Dwight Beeson Hall, the then home of the School of Business.
Dr. Finch, you stepped into the role as Dean of the Brock School of Business. Tell us about your interactions with Mr. Brock and kind of what it meant for you to step into a named business school.
Well, as I went through the interview process, it was very apparent that there was a lot of pride and a lot of momentum that had built up since the naming of the school. And I met with Mr. Brock one-on-one during the interview process, and he was he felt very strongly that he wanted the momentum to continue and to see the school build toward having a first-rate facility, a home, if you will, of the Brock School of Business. And I remember him saying, we got the school named, and now we need to build a building and get it a home. So I really felt both encouraged and excited about the idea of taking the momentum that had started under Dean Taylor and trying to take that on to the next level.
Dr. Taylor, for those who aren't familiar with Harry B. Brock Jr., what kind of businessman and person was he?
You know, when we were preparing for the announcement that day, I had done quite a bit of research because I wanted to pull archives and news stories and elements of his business career into my introduction that day. And one of the news stories that I had shared with Mr. Brock had called him a maverick. And I could tell that Harry liked that term. And I think that was descriptive of Harry's personality in the business world. As a banker, Harry Brock really revolutionized customer-oriented banking. And really the commercial banking sector as we know it today is largely shaped by the innovations that he brought to Compass Bank, the bank that he founded. And so I knew Harry as an innovator, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who pushed against some of the age-old traditions in his industry, and somebody who wanted to reflect those same values, frankly, into our students and into the school. And so as I was talking with Harry about naming the school, he was quite adamant that we form a school and build a school around the idea that young business leaders, the kinds of graduates that we would produce, would go out into the world and be mavericks of sorts, to try to revolutionize the various industries that they would go on into, but to do so in a way that would align with not only Harry's faith and his ethics, but also certainly the mission of Samford University.
Dr. Taylor, for a long time, Samford Business School was unnamed. Why was it so important for us to secure somebody like Harry Brock from the business community and as you said earlier, affix an identity to the school?
Yeah. The School of Business that I inherited in 2005 was doing really good work. We had great faculty members providing important education to students. You were one of the faculty members there, Dean Carson. We were doing important work, but we were not as connected to the business community as we are today, certainly. And part of that was we lacked an identity. We lacked a personality, if you will. And part of the work that we did together during those years was to shape a personality, a character, an identity of the school. But that identity wasn't firmly fixed until we had a name. And so I thought it was very important that the School of Business at Samford have a name, have an identity, have something that our students could grasp onto, our faculty and staff could grasp onto, that would give them that important personality that we needed at the time to make those important relationships in the business community.
Dr. Finch, as you stepped into the dean's role in 2011, how did you assess the identity of the school with the Brock name affixed to it, and how did you take that identity out into the business community?
Well, I made a promise to myself and to the advisory board that Dean Taylor had put together, that I would visit each one of them in person at their place of work during my first year in the role, and I did that. And I called on a lot of other community leaders as well throughout Birmingham and the Southeast. And I remember very distinctly a community leader saying to me that all his life he had heard about the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, and now everywhere he goes he hears about the Brock School of Business at Samford University in Birmingham. And I knew then that the identity that you were striving to achieve and the name recognition associated with excellent business education was really, there were roots there, that it had been successful and that the community perception was one of value and strength.
Dr. Finch, in 2011, as we mentioned, when you were named dean, coming from Florida Gulf Coast University, what were the things that attracted you to Samford and to the Brock School of Business?
Well, there were three big motivations. One, I had served at state universities for 20 years, and I had a strong feeling that I wanted to try to serve at a Christian university before my career ended, and so the Christian mission of Samford was a big draw for me. Second, I had roots in Alabama, and I felt strongly that the best days, both economically and socially for the state, were ahead. And it was a good time to try to be part of that. And then finally, I felt like that there was momentum, and that one of the things that came out in the interview process was the desire to get a new business school building. I was fortunate to have had the experience at Florida Gulf Coast of raising support for and designing and then occupying a new business school building. So the idea of having the opportunity to build on that experience and bring that same kind of excitement and pride to Samford was very attractive.
Dr. Finch, before your arrival, Dr. Jim Rayburn served as interim dean for the Brock School of Business. And Dr. Rayburn had been your associate dean, Dr. Taylor. I know that we all can appreciate the work of a transitionary position, an interim position. Just kind of speak to the role that Dr. Rayburn had, and Dr. Taylor, I'm going to let you speak to your thoughts in appointing or encouraging Dr. Rayburn to pursue that interim opportunity.
Well, let me say that I owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. Rayburn, as does the school, because he did, first of all, he kept the momentum going that had been built under Dean Taylor's leadership, so there was no downturn. The community and the advisory board and the students were all fully engaged during that interim process. It was apparent when I visited the campus that there was still momentum and things were moving forward. When I accepted the position in April, there was a period there until I was going to arrive in July when Dr. Rayburn and I talked on almost a daily basis, and he just did a wonderful job preparing me to understand the people, the culture, and the opportunities that were out there. And so when I was able to actually get here, I was able to hit the ground running because of his willingness and his vision that he shared with me about where the school was and where the school could go.
Dr. Rayburn was such an important partner of mine. I cannot imagine a better partner than Jim was. And so when I stepped down to head to Whitworth, there was no one better who commanded the respect of the faculty and staff, of our students, our alumni base. Jim Rayburn was well known in the community. And so it was not a hard decision at all for Dr. Westmoreland and me to ask Jim to serve in that role. He did a wonderful job in that role and continues to serve our school well.
Dr. Finch, as you mentioned during your time as dean, the focus shifted to finding us a physical home. And we sit here today in Cooney Hall. So we'd love to get your reflections on the process of not only the interactions with Mr. Cooney about this opportunity, but gaining his support, and then the design of the building, the construction of the building. We just want to hear all about Cooney Hall from you.
Well, let me start by saying that the pledge that Gary Cooney made to make this facility happen was an absolute game changer. At that point, it was an idea that people were excited about, but there was a lot of skepticism about whether or not it was going to actually come to fruition, as there always is in the planning of a new facility and trying to acquire the financing to put a facility in place. His pledge, first of all, was a validation to the community, both locally and to the Samford alumni community, that he saw what was originally Harry Brock's vision, that we would have an excellent business school that was faithful to the Christian mission of Samford and be housed in a first-class facility. And Gary's pledge said, yes, that vision is valid and we're going to make it happen. And so from the day he made that pledge, the outside image and recognition of this facility completely changed. And then he was just a fantastic cheerleader for the project. And so he regularly spoke to groups, made personal phone calls and connections with people, and really just got a lot of momentum going that made it a lot easier for the university to raise the funds and make the facility happen. We had an excellent experience with the designers of the building, Davis Architects. They were very responsive to the fact that we wanted the building. I like to say that Cooney Hall, the outside speaks to the parents and grandparents, but the inside is for the students. And they did a wonderful job of incorporating that vision and creating spaces and designs that students like to be in and to enjoy not only going to class, but studying together and working in groups. And then Hoare Construction, who were involved in the physical design, actually constructing the building, worked so well with not only our facilities people, but also with Davis, so that it was a real team effort, and honestly, I could not have been more pleased with the outcome.
President Taylor, looking back or looking at what happened from afar at Whitworth, what were your thoughts when you learned that we would have Cooney Hall?
I was so excited. I want to use this as an opportunity just to applaud Dean Finch and you, Dean Carson, for carrying the momentum, whatever momentum was generated during my deanship, and multiplying that many, many times over. I remember the day that Cooney Hall was announced, and I applauded loudly from Spokane, Washington, because I knew that was the missing piece. I knew we had the vision, I knew we had the faculty, I knew that the Brock School of Business had the identity that it so longed for. But space is so important, and our students deserve, our faculty and staff deserve to work and study in a 21st century space like Cooney Hall. And so what a game changer. I agree. I don't know that the school would be what it is today without this marvelous facility that we're in.
Since the naming of the Brock School of Business, our enrollment has more than doubled, and we sit here in a fantastic facility. What other highlights come first to your mind when you think about your times respectively as Dean? President Taylor, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think finding that identity. Again, we had so many of the basic ingredients needed for an excellent business school, but we had not to that point asked the business community to partner with us. And so forming the Business School Advisory Board, forming the Samford Business Network, which was our opportunity to engage with alumni and other business leaders throughout the region, creating that tailwind that we needed to convince folks that Samford had everything it needed to have a first-class business school. Those are certainly among my highlights. We did a lot of curricular reform when I was dean, and really put into place, I think, the curriculum, the basics of the curriculum that exists today, which I think continue to prepare young business leaders well. And then obviously the opportunity to honor Harry Brock. Those are among the highlights I remember.
Dr. Finch?
Well, in addition to the design and construction of the building, three things really stand out for me that we accomplished during my time. One is we made a really conscious effort to go out and hire excellent faculty and staff. And these are the people that interact with the students on a daily basis and are primarily responsible for their educational and social experience here at Samford. And we hired some wonderful people that, continuing on today and probably for many years from now, are going to continue to have a positive impact on our students' experience and their education here at Samford. We also made a couple of curricular additions, listening and responding to student needs and desires. In particular, the sports marketing and the professional sales concentrations that really spurred growth in enrollment. And then finally, the decision to take our graduate programs online, and especially the MBA, and offer it in a flex format where each class is offered both in person and online, really changed that program from a local in-person program to a national and even in some cases international program. So those are the big game changers.
President Taylor, from a broader perspective, how do you feel that the naming of the business school impacted the university?
Sure. I cannot imagine a Samford University in the future that achieves all of its aspirations, its potential, its dreams, without a first-rate business school. Every great university in the country has a strong business school, and we have a strong business school here at the Brock School of Business. So I think that the Brock School, among our 10 colleges and schools at Samford, really sets the pace in many ways for excellence at the university. And I think we needn't look farther than the Brock School. Its students, its faculty, the ways in which it relates to our employers and the business community as a model for the ways our other academic programs can succeed here at Samford.
President Taylor, Dr. Finch, thank you for your service to the Brock School of Business and your ongoing service to Samford University. It's been great to reflect on 15 years of Brock. We look forward to many great years ahead. We sit here, President Taylor, as you like to say, I'll butcher it, but I think our best years are ahead
That's right.
of the Brock School of Business and for Samford University. So thank you both. As I stepped into the role, I believe someone said there's a big suit to fill.
Is that Harry Brock's?
No, that was Howard Finch's big suit to fill. He's doesn't wear as big a suit as he used to wear, but it's an honor to follow behind both of you as deans, and I continue to lean on both of you for wise counsel and support.
You're doing a great job, Dr. Carson.
Thank you both for your time, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.